Good morning students, I'm Jacob, your English teacher. So before we proceed, let's do a quick recall. So till now we read that Roger Skunk went to Mr. Owl and then he asked him for help, that nobody plays with me because I smell awful. So Mr. Owl says that for you to smell good, you have to go to Mr. Wizard, the magician. So Roger Skunk goes to Mr. Wizard and Mr. Wizard asks him that how he wanted to smell like. And then Roger Skunk said that first he thought for a while and then he said that I want to smell like roses. And then Wizard performs a magic spell, abracadabra, and then let's find out what happened next. Okay, so should Wizard hit mommy? Vista's book, page number 52. He paused as a rapt expression widened out from his daughter's nostrils, forcing her eyebrows up and her lower lip down in a wide, noiseless grin. An expression in which Jack was startled to recognize his wife feigning pleasure at cocktail parties. So what happened, as soon as Joe's father told her that Roger Skunk wanted to smell like roses and the wizard performed the magic spell, she actually got happy, and it could be seen on her face and with the kind of expression she was giving her father. So her father was actually thinking that same expressions were given by her wife Claire when they actually go for cocktail parties. And all of a sudden he whispered, the whole inside of the wizard's house was full of the smell of roses, roses. Roger Fish cried, and the wizard said very cranky, that'll be 7 pennies. So cranky means strange voice. So for making Roger Skunk smell like roses, the wizard asked him to pay an amount of 7 pennies. Daddy, what? Roger Skunk. You said Roger Fish. Yes, Skunk. You said Roger Fish. Wasn't that silly? Very silly of your stupid old daddy. Where was I? Well, you know about the pennies. So what happened? Father said Roger Fish instead of Roger Skunk mistakenly. So Joe corrected him that father, you said Roger Fish. We are actually talking about the story, or I am actually hearing a story about Roger Skunk. So he's saying, oh, I am sorry, I am turning old, that is why my memory is also becoming poor. Say it. Okay, Roger Skunk said, but all I have is 4 pennies, and he began to cry. Joe made the crying face again, but this time without a trace of sincerity. This annoyed Jack. Downstairs some furniture rumbled. Claire shouldn't move heavy things. She was 6 months pregnant. It would be their 3rd. So as soon as Jack said that Roger Skunk had only 4 pennies, but magician asked him to pay 7 pennies. So Joe made a sad face and Jack got annoyed. And also he could also hear the furniture being rumbled, moved here and there. And he thinks that Claire should not do such things because she is 6 months pregnant. So the wizard said, oh, very well. Go to the end of the lane and turn around 3 times. Look down the magic well and there you will find 3 pennies. Hurry up. So Roger Skunk went to the end of the lane and turned around 3 times, and there in the magic well were 3 pennies. So he took them back to the wizard and was very happy and ran into the woods, and all the other little animals gathered around him because he smelled so good. And they played tag, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, hockey, soccer and pick up sticks. So what happened? The wizard tells Roger Skunk to go to the end of the lane and turn 3 times and you will find the remaining 3 pennies over there. So Roger Skunk went, whatever directions were given by the wizard, the magician, he went there and he took the 3 pennies and gave it to wizard. After that, when he came back, everyone gathered around him, the animals, and they started playing with him. They played a lot of games together: hockey, baseball, football, hockey, soccer, pick up sticks. So now Joe asks that what is pick up sticks? What's pick up sticks? It's a game you play with sticks. Like the wizard's magic wand? Again she asks her father. Kind of, Jack answers. And they played games and laughed all afternoon, and then it began to get dark and they all ran home to their mommies. So after playing, they finally went back to their homes. Jo was starting to fuss with her hands and look out of the window at the crack of day that showed under the shade. She thought that the story was all over. Jack didn't like women when they took anything for granted. He liked them apprehensive, hanging on his words. Now, Joe, are you listening? So what happened when, we also like movies which have happy endings. So Joe thought that Roger Skunk is now finally smelling good, everyone is playing with him, so the story is finally over. So what she did, she started to fuss. Fuss means out of excitement. She thought the story is over and there was no more excitement left in her, and she started looking out of the window. And Jack does not like this. He said that when women take things for granted, he does not like that because he wants them to stick to his words or hanging on his words. Yes, because this is very interesting. Roger Skunk's mommy said, "What's that awful smell?" What? And Roger Skunk said, "It's me, mommy, I smell like roses." And she said, "Who made you smell like that?" And he said, "The wizard." And she said, all the nerve. You come with me and we are going right back to that very awful wizard. So now finally, again the tables turned. Okay, when Jack said, "Joe, are you listening to what I am saying?" And then he again started narrating the story. And what happened next? When he went home after playing with his friends, his mother asks him that, "What is that awful smell?" He said that, "Mama, I am smelling like roses." And his mother gets furious that, "Who made you smell so awful?" He said, "The wizard." So she said, "I am actually taking you back to the wizard." So let's see what happened next. Jo sat up, her hands dabbling in the air with genuine fright. Dabbling means quickly. "But Daddy," then he said, "about the other little animals run away." Her hands skittered off into the underbrush. So she was actually getting nervous that how come the story has changed? Why is his mother not liking his smell? So she was actually getting nervous. Skittered means nervous. "Alright," he said, "but mommy, all the other little animals run away." And she said, "I don't care. You smelled the way a little skunk should have. And I'm going to take you right back to that wizard." And she took an umbrella and went back with Roger Skunk and hit that wizard right over the head. So Roger Skunk's mother was not liking his rose-like smell. So she took the umbrella, went to the wizard and hit the wizard with the umbrella. "No," Jo said, and put her hand out to touch his lips, yet even in her agitation did not quite dare to stop the source of growth. Inspiration came to her. Then the wizard hit her on the head and did not change that little skunk back. So what happened? Jo was not liking the way things were going in the poem. So when her father was narrating the story, she put a finger on her father's lips. She said, no, put her hand out to touch his lips, because she was not liking the story. And out of inspiration, when she kept the finger on her father's lips, she started to speak that now I know what would happen, that wizard would hit the mommy back and would not change the Roger skunk's smell. So let's find out what did Jack say. No, he said. The wizard said okay, and Roger skunk did not smell of roses anymore. He smelled very bad again. Joanne, it's daddy's, but the other little animals. She wanted to say animals, okay? She says mom. But the other little animals, oh, animals. Joanne, so Joe's complete name is Joanne. Joanne, it's daddy's story. Shall daddy not tell you any more stories? Her broad face looked at him through sifted light, astounded. This is what happened then. Roger skunk and his mommy went home and they heard woo-woo, and it was the choo-choo train bringing Daddy Skunk home from Boston. So what happened? Joe actually did not like the way I told you the things turned in the story. So wizard, as Roger Skunk's mother said that I want him to smell like the way skunks smell. So wizard said okay, that's fine with me, and again with his magic wand he turned Roger Skunk into the way he was previously, like the way he smelled awful. And they had lima beans, celery, liver, mashed potatoes and pie of my for dessert. And when Roger Skunk was in bed, Mommy Skunk came up and hugged him and said he smelled like her little baby skunk again, and she loved him very much. And that's the end of the story. So how story ended? Roger Skunk started smelling awful again, and her mother liked it. She said that this is how a baby skunk should smell like. She hugged him. But daddy, what? Then did the other little animals run away? No, because eventually they got used to the way he was and did not mind it at all. What's eventually D? So she is actually trying to pronounce eventually. In a little while, that was a stupid mommy. It was not. He said with rare emphasis, and believed from her expression that she realized he was defending his own mother to her, or something as odd. Now I want you to put your big heavy head in the pillow and have a good long nap. So what happened? She asked her father that, Father, what about the other animals? Because they did not play with Roger Skunk because he smelled awful. So he said that eventually, after a certain time, they also accepted it and started playing with Roger Skunk and did not mind his awful smell. So then Joe says that that was a stupid mommy. So he said it was not. She realized he was defending his own mother to her, or something as odd. Now I want you to put your big heavy head in the pillow and have a good long nap. He adjusted the shade so not even a crack of the day showed, and tiptoed to the door in the pretense that she was already asleep, but he turned. She was crouching on the top of the covers, staring at him. Hey, get under the covers and fall fast asleep. Bobby's asleep. So, as we discussed, that Joanne was not liking the end of the story and she was getting irritated. She was actually, what was she doing? Crouching on the top of the covers when father said that go to sleep, take a long nap or fast asleep. She was actually pretending. There is a word called tiptoe to the door, and in the pretense that she was already asleep. She was trying to pretend that she's asleep. But when he came back to the room, Jack saw that Joe was actually crouching. You know what is crouching? Crouching is actually, going here and there on bed, and crouching under on the top of the covers and staring at him. He said that Bobby's asleep. Why are you not sleeping? She stood up and bounced gingerly on the springs. Daddy, what? Tomorrow I want you to tell me the story that Wizard took that magic wand and hit that mommy and her plump arms chopped forcefully and right over the head. No, that's not the story. The point is that little skunk loved his mommy more than he loved all the other little animals, and she knew what was right. So now Joe is asking her father that, Father, tomorrow I want you to tell me that the wizard hit the mommy on the head with his magic wand. Then he said, no, that's not how the story should end, because Roger Skunk loved his mother. That is why he actually accepted the way he smelled awful. No, tomorrow you say he hit that mommy. Do it. She kicked her legs up and sat down on the bed with great heave and complaint of springs, as she had done hundreds of times before. Except that this time she did not laugh, said Daddy. Well, we'll see. Now at least have a rest. Stay on the bed, you are a good girl. He closed the door and went downstairs. Claire had spread the newspaper and opened the paint can, and wearing an old shirt of his on top of her maternity smock, was stroking the chair rail with a dipped brush. Above him, footsteps vibrated and he called, Joanne, shall I come up there and spank you? The footsteps hesitated. That was a long story, Claire said. The poor kid, he answered, and with utter weariness watched his wife labor. The woodwork, a cage of moldings and rails and baseboards all around them, was half old tan and half new ivory, and he felt caught in the ugly middle position, and though he as well felt his wife's presence in the cage with him, he did not want to speak with her, work with her, touch her, anything. So what happened? Joe was not liking the story, so she said, Father, tomorrow I want you to tell me that the wizard hit the mommy on her head with the magic wand. So he said that no, this is not the way the story should end, because Roger Skunk loved his mommy. That is why he accepted that he should actually smell like a skunk should smell like. Then what happened? She was asked by her father, Joe was asked by her father that go and sleep. Then what did he do? He went downstairs to help Claire, because in the chapter we actually, during the story, while he was telling the story, he was able to hear that, the furniture was moved here and there. So Claire was working downstairs. So he went downstairs and wanted to help Claire, move the furniture or paint the old chair or, the chair rail. So what happened? When he went downstairs, he could see somebody coming downstairs, or the footsteps vibrated. And then he said, Joanne, should Daddy come upstairs and slap you? Spank means slap you. Okay? And the footsteps hesitated means when Joe heard that her father is scolding, she stopped over there. Hesitation means she stopped. And then Claire says that it was a long story because Jack took time to come downstairs to help her. And then it is actually mentioned at the end that they started working, he started helping, and he said, the poor kid, and he watched his wife do the work. He did not want to speak with her, work with her, touch her, anything. Okay. So students, this is the chapter Should Wizard Hit Mommy? So if you still have any queries, you can message me, and in the next session we are going to discuss the back exercise, I mean the question and answers. Okay.